how did you cultivate this kind of no fear approach and everything that you've built up?
I wouldn't say it's no fear at all. Of course, there's doubt. Like, doubt is always in my mind for sure. But I think fear in itself is the uncertainty of the outcome, right? I think that's the easiest way to look at fear. Now, how can you reduce the amount of fear you have over something? Is, you jump in the water with a shark. If someone tells you you can swim up to that shark, 100% certainty, it's impossible, it can go wrong, swim up to it, mess about with it, it's not going to eat you, you'll be sweet, you get out. If you knew genuinely that nothing was going to happen, you'd be like, sweet, I go in. But you don't know that. Fear is uncertainty of the outcome. Whereas when it comes to business, or whether it comes to a decision, quitting your job, all of these types of things, if you can control the variables and make the probability of an outcome become this, okay, so 90% certain, if I put all of these places, or all of these things in place, the probability of that outcome being positive, I'm not scared of this anymore. It's gone from 100% scary to 10% scary. You're prepared to do it, and the way to do that is control the variables. So for me, certainly as I was younger, I was more reckless. I was impulsive. Reckless is not the right word, impulsive. I want to do this, so fuck it, I'm going to do it. And I suffered multiple times for it. I lost money. I've created relationships with people I shouldn't have created relationships with, as in business, and I got stitched up, stabbed in the back, whatever. But as I got older, I'm like, right, when I make a move now, I'm less scared because I say, right, from the last 10 times I did this, each time I took something from it, and I'm controlling the variables now. So when I'm making a decision, I can look at it more impartially, more logically, and say, right, well, I've controlled everything I can control. What is the probability of success now? Okay, it's here. This is cool. This is fine. Whereas if it's something that I really can't control and it's complete fluke, chances are I'd still do it. But maybe I'm going into it with way more fear and less confidence, which is not necessarily a good thing. Fear is kind of a double-edged sword because it's an amazing driver. Like, if you're scared of something, you're going to do everything you possibly can to make sure whatever that shit is, it doesn't overcome you. But it can also make you emotional and illogical, which means you're not thinking clearly about the process, the outcome, whatever it may be. So I think the way to control that, you're always going to be scared. But number one, you have to embrace it. Number two, you have to control the variables. When you got into the ring, what would you say, 40 professional fights?
Yeah.
Surely every single time you got in there, despite all of the ridiculous hours and blood and sweat and tears of controlling the variables to make sure you win, every time you got into that ring, you must have still thought, okay, am I scared? How did, from your point of view, how did you control it? Because again, you're the extreme level of fear. You're one-on-one with another dude trying to kill each other. There's no business decision. There's no, I'm going to quit my job and go and try and do this. It's all reversible. If you guys fuck up, you die.
So it's exactly. So that's why I have a very good touch on this. But for me, it was understanding the variables. Yeah, I've never heard of it to put that way, but that was kind of, if I look back at myself now, the first year I got into fighting, the second year I was got into fighting, when I moved into the gym, I went to 53 fighting events in a year. So that was every weekend or yeah. So I was always at one or two. I was either cornering, fighting, watching, or like judging or whatever, because I used to do all the jobs as well as much as I could. So I saw 52, 53 events in a year, and at each event, I'm talking back in the day, they would have between 10 fights, and some events my mate Jack would have 35 fights, because to get people through the door.
Sorry, in one event?
In one event.
Fucking hell.
Because you just got to get bums on seats. The way to get bums on seats is to have more fights. So you'd have I would see, let's say average, I'd see 20 fights per show, 20 fights first show, 53 events. I'd see a lot of fights, right? And the more fights you see, and the more people you see after the fights, and you see, actually, he's all right. You know what I mean? Like, okay, he got head kicked and knocked out, but he's all right. Oh, he got his arm, but he's all right. Like, you would start to feel way more comfortable with the fact that, you're going to get hurt, but it's okay. And then obviously with all the training and getting hit, and what I think with combat, especially, the mental fear of damage, like getting hit in the head, is so much more paralyzing than actually getting hit in the head. Like, men don't understand how powerful we are. Like, you generally don't know physically how much you can endure,
how much damage you can inflict on someone.
You don't understand it. So when you don't understand it, that's when you're so fearful of it, because you don't have the knowledge. Like exactly what you just said. I have deep understanding of fighting knowledge, like damage I can create, people can create on me, all that sort of stuff. I actually think it's extremely difficult to knock out another human being because I've tried many times. But the guys I'm trying on are professional athletes.
I'm going to say it's people who've learned how to not get knocked out.
Yeah.
You fucking took a swing at me, I'd be through that wall in a second.
It's different, right?
Yeah.
So for me, the thing that I would always go back on, my mentality towards fear, but when I'm in the changing rooms just before the fight, is I would have done everything you could possibly imagine to make sure that I'm going to perform to the best of my capabilities. And I was never fearful of the outcome. I was always fearful of my performance. Yeah. So I had like a bit of performance anxiety because I was like, if I focus on, I believed that if I performed to the best of my ability, 100%, I could beat any man on the planet. That was like always my mentality going into fighting. And I always used to say that I am this guy, my opponent, doesn't matter because I'm not thinking about this guy. I'm thinking about the next guy that I'm going to fight. I want the next guy I'm going to fight to watch this fight and shit himself because of the damage that I inflict on this person. So I would like kind of bring myself out of the situation. So I was never really fear of the danger of getting hurt. Kind of just disappears with experience. And like I said, 52, 53 events, all the fights I saw, all the damage. I used to run events later on and I'd see like, you'd be amazed. Like there's not as many injuries as you'd think in fighting. The hard thing is the weight gain. Yeah. So once I got the weight gain done, I was like, sweet. Now it's just
that's the fun bit.
It's the fun bit, right? So yeah, I think dealing with fear, it's what I did a little talk about this. I think fear and stress, like, most of it is made up. Most of it is perception. So it's lack of understanding. And in your own brain, you are thinking about the future, thinking about the past experiences, and you're not in the present moment. So if you're scared of the future, it's like the future's not even happened yet. Why even worry about that shit? Try and focus on today and focus on now. So that's how I kind of look at it.